I think that sometimes we get down on ourselves about where we are in our life, about how it looks, not just to friends and family, but in here, in our secret heart, where we know things that we cannot yet say. And I think that this sense creates a profound feeling of isolation and alienation at times that we all feel. It's a feeling of the life that I'm waking up to today somehow not being what I ever imagined or believed or wanted. And how did I get here? A couple years ago, I recorded a video not unlike this called Waking Up at 40, where I was experiencing this feeling in real time. And since then, with a sense of determination, I have changed my life. I decided to make it different. I didn't know what that was going to mean exactly. I had some sense of it, but I just decided to move, to change. And I did change a lot. If you talk to someone who knew me before and knows me now, they would say you're still Greg. And I suppose that humbles me because I like to imagine that I'm a great engine of personal change and that I've moved so many things within myself, but there is still some fundamental quality, and I share that to give heart to those going through change and taking on difficult things and worried about leaving friends behind. Yes, there are always friends and family that we leave when we change. Those who are not as connected to that fundamental quality in our hearts, but more connected to some quality of our lives, whether it be a particular social obligation, a role to fulfill, or something along these lines. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling beside the point. As a result of making all these changes, after I turned 40, to try to get my life back to something that I liked, to something that I felt good about, I began to understand, looking back at the change on the other side of it, that what I was passing through was not something that happened to me. What I was passing through was a season of life. And I began to see all the little beats in my story that led me up to today, on any given day, as a connected set of seasons of life where the elements arrived to me and I received them in a way, and then eventually I moved beyond that season of life. Sometimes seasons of life move on because our circumstances change. Actually, I think for most of us, that's probably the main reason. And that's completely natural. But for some of us, a season of life can change when there's a change inside. As I say this, I'm recognizing that in fact, seasons of life really change when something in here changing is connected to something out there changing. And that could be something that we've set our heart on to bring about, and it comes about, or it doesn't. Or, I suppose, it could be something that happens to us that changes our hearts in some way that we didn't expect. We become a little bit of a newer version of ourselves. We change. The way that we arrive to people we love and know is slightly different. And they get to know a slightly newer version of us. And that can be scary. And that can make us feel like it's better to be alone than to try to make ourselves into someone who our friends and family don't yet recognize. And I think the reason I wanted to turn the camera on and talk about this is to encourage that we do want to get to know the new version of you. We couldn't be more excited to meet the new you, the you that we always sensed was in there, could be, that has come to be. Yes, there will be awkwardness. Of course, there's awkwardness. And there will be some who don't get it. But many of us, maybe even most of us, will. And those few of us who do will make the change all worthwhile. To feel what has moved and changed within our heart has changed our life. To feel that connect to something that moves within others, it is perhaps the most unmistakable human thing. It's a thing that we seek when we sit down at night and turn on Netflix, get that whole thing going. We're looking for connection to a season of someone's life, to feel something within ourselves and see it on the screen or in each other. Not here to rail against Netflix and screen time, but these things have their severe limits. And there is no screen-mediated interaction that compares with being in the room with another human being. Nothing. Nothing that is as informationally dense, that is emotionally rich, that is full of more potential than being in the room with another human being. And I think if we can start to allow ourselves to notice that, recognize it, and maybe even become excited about it, then the ability to change our lives suddenly becomes an excitement to connect to that change in others, and it becomes this thing that can reinforce. And we find out over time that we put ourselves in places and among people who are good for us and want what's best for us. That's my hunch of how it works. And we're all in a season. I'm in a season. A few months ago, I published a video called Don't Survive, Thrive Through Layoffs. And I published that because I was full of fire and optimism based on what I knew about being unemployed. I've been unemployed for a better part of a year, just a few years earlier, having been between things in the ever tumultuous industry of technology. And I really went down to the bottom of it, and it felt bad. And I was quite alone. I felt quite isolated. But I recognized then that it was an opportunity to change something. It was a gift of time, and that's what I wanted to share when I published that video earlier this year. So this time around, this season of unemployment that is reaching its end, has been full of that same sense of possibility, but with a slight tweak, being that now, because I moved my life through many seasons since then, my life is much more reactive to the possibility of change. I have many more points of connection that exist already, many more mirrors in my life that can be held up to me to show me where I am and who I am. And the possibility and feedback loop of it is much more robust. And it's been a wonderful time, a beautiful time. A season that is, of course, characterized by uncertainty. But when that season comes to an end, I owe it to myself to reflect on its totality of what it is that I passed through during this time. I hesitate to enumerate it now because it would be premature. We're still in this season. But every single video you've seen me upload during during this year, 2026, every single article I've written on my Substack, and many things y'all haven't seen, that perhaps you will one day. New projects, new hopes, new possibilities. The sense that the gaming, far from being the taboo evil I've treated it as for the last few years, might be it might be a clue, a fundamental ingredient of the thing that I'm here to bring about while I'm on earth. When I say that out loud, it feels true. We're going to find out as we navigate this season of life. As you navigate yours, friend, I hope you'll take heart and know that we're all in it. We're all in this season right now. The thing that makes you feel so alone in yours is the same thing that makes it feel alone in your neighbors, in your friends, your sisters, your brothers. And the thing that makes it feel a little less cold and a little less alone is the brave choice to say, hey, I'm going through something, to another human being in the room. I highly recommend it. And if you do, I'm grateful. So, Godspeed on this season. Some good fortune to you too. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.